Hey, what's up, good peoples? What's going on, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? Welcome to episode 29, Materialism within the Black community. I know y'all gonna have a lot to say, but we gonna get through it. But as you guys know, I don't do this alone. Let me introduce my amazing panel to you. This is the first lady of the BMC panel. She don't need no introduction. Let's welcome Shay to the show. What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's cracking, lacking?
How you feeling?
You know, I'm
Okay.
feeling good. I
Good,
don't have no
good,
issues,
good.
no complaints.
Looking good, looking good.
Well,
Now
thank
he's
you.
back for the second week. I don't know. We might have to make him a permanent guest. I don't know, everybody. Let's see. Let's welcome the man with the plan, Mr. Q.
Yo,
Hope to the show. What up, man? What's going on with you, bro?
what's going on, everybody?
Not much, man. You ready for this conversation?
Hey, man, I'm excited. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, what's up, everybody? Back at Tembe. What's up, bro? How you feeling? Welcome, everybody. Listen, before we go on today's show, I really need everybody's favor. If you are watching on Facebook, share. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. More importantly, hit the bell so that you notify when I drop new content. If you hit the bell, then you automatically notified. It does not. If you're not on YouTube, then I can't see that you're on. But I appreciate all of you guys and thank you for joining in. So before we go into today's content, I got an icebreaker for you guys. Y'all ready for it?
Yep.
So, providing that the island will give you only food and water, what two things would you take on the island with you? You can only pick two things. Only providing that this island will give you food, water, the necessities to live. But what other two things? They only giving you food, water, stuff like that. What other two things would you take? We go ladies first. Shay, go ahead.
I probably would take a Wi-Fi connection, so a hotspot,
Okay.
and I would take my phone because I can always watch. Oh shit! But I need a charger.
You can only take.
Um. Oh, I would take. Uh, um. I would have to take my phone and a charger
Okay.
because
I
I got a
respect that.
hotspot on my phone. So
Okay.
yeah.
Q, what about you?
We can't do a bundle pack.
Only yeah, with two things.
I'm gonna have to roll with Shay. It's gonna have to be my cell phone and my charger.
Okay. Let's see. What two things would I take? Uh, give me a bed and TV. I'll take. Yep. Give me a bed and TV. Because if I take my phone and I take my charger, there's no internet.
No, you don't need internet with your phone. Your phone comes with the internet.
But if you're in other islands, then you can't really just give me a bed and TV. At
You
least I
can't
can
do
watch.
anything with a TV because you need internet.
And you need an outlet.
Well, you have an outlet because you have a house. So that's
Yeah.
naturally. He said you're just
Okay.
gonna have to do that stuff.
Just give me a bed and TV. The phone, I
What are you
think that.
gonna do with a television if you don't have internet, honey?
Okay, well, give me a bed. Well, shit, hell. Well, give me the damn phone too. I guess I sleep in the sand. I guess I'll be having a sand bed too.
I'm on the floor. I'm gonna thug it out. I'm good.
Alrighty, guys. So let's jump into it, guys. Welcome again. Today is episode 29, Materialism in the Black community. I do want to put a little disclaimer out. This show is not to discredit anyone. I hope nobody get offended or become offensive with opinions and stuff like that. This is just for pure entertainment, and the views and stuff expressed within today's live is our own personal thoughts and views. So yeah, let's just have some fun. So when you think of materialism, Q, what do you think of when you hear that word materialism?
Materialism. One who prefer. Good question. Um, one who prefers a want over a need, if that makes sense.
A want Materialism, a want.
So
Okay,
yeah,
okay, a want over a need. Okay, I can see how that kind of correlates. Shay, what about you?
Well, I actually just wanted to look it up. I thought it was a person who was just overly um, concerned with things that you can buy versus to things that naturally come. And when I looked at the definition for materialism, it says a tendency to consider material possessions and physical comfort as more important than spiritual values. So that was the definition for those who didn't know what materialism meant.
And if you guys didn't know, this is the definition. But well, is this the one you was reading?
No, that was another one that you have, but it's
Okay.
kind of almost on the same lines.
So yeah, so this kind of correlate with what Shay was saying. It says defined as a tendency to consider material possessions and physical comfort as more important than spiritual and other values. Materialism has gone beyond the tendency and become an epidemic in contemporary society.
Mhm.
Um, so so let I don't want to get on here and act brand new. We all like nice shit, we do. I feel like we all work hard for it. Why not wear or buy nice things? You can be, I think when you think of material, most people think of labels, but you could be material in the car you drive, the hotels you stay, etc. And I think that having those things is not a bad thing. Now, I think it becomes bad when you are doing it for. I think it's bad when you're doing anything besides just wanting to look nice or wanting those things. But if
It's
it's
idolizing it. It's
there, you go,
idolizing it.
idolizing
When you
it.
idolize it, that's when it becomes bad.
Perfect, perfect. And I think when you idolize things, and most times, and let's just be, because Shay and I we talked about this. The average income in a household, I don't know if you remember, in an American family, because remember we was talking about this, it was low.
Pretty
And
bad.
so I guess me knowing what I make a year and just knowing like I don't consider myself a materialistic person. However, I do like nice things. I do like certain things I have to have. It have to be that. It have to be that. But I wouldn't say that I'm materialistic. But I think would you guys say that you materialistic? Q? Would you say you materialistic and be honest?
I mean, in certain ways, yeah. I mean, I have
Oh shit.
certain preferences over others, but I won't say. For me, I look at materialistic like as far as when it comes to materialism things. I'm looking at it as having stuff to do it to please people
Are
and
you
not
doing that to please people or are you doing it to make yourself look good?
do it to make myself look good.
Look
That I
good or feel good? Because now
both
that
look and feel, and because I work hard to have it.
okay, I'm gonna come back to you on that. So okay, Shay, what about yourself? Would you say you
So
materialistic?
no, I'm not materialistic at all. But I did want to say the average salary in America in 2022 is around $94,000.
Oh,
So it's
that ain't
actually not
bad.
bad. It's went up.
Yeah.
It says a person working in the United States typically earns around $94,000 per year. Salaries range anywhere from 24,000 as the lowest to 423,000 as the highest. So it's actually not as bad as we actually look. This was a couple, maybe last year in the summer we looked at that. So that's when the numbers may have changed a little bit. But no, I don't consider myself materialistic at all. However, I do like nice things, and I don't want people to get misconstrued with liking nice things and desiring nice things and having standards
Hmm.
mixed with your materialistic. Because materialistic again is to overconsume in it, to make bad decisions, to go buy Gucci
Exactly.
Gucci shoes when you don't have a car. That's a bad decision. You're materialistic, and you can't compensate for what you're buying, but you're buying things to be of a status, to post it on Facebook, to say that I have it,
What's up,
versus
Michael?
to actually being able to own those things. So that's when you become materialistic. because you're living in this misconception of this is what I want, but I really can't afford it. But this is what I want, so I'm gonna go get it.
But to piggyback on what you said, Shay, I think also too is when we sacrifice buying the Gucci, the Pradas, and all the other stuff like that, and sacrifice paying our bills, and we get killed.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes,
So
Yes.
so it's a catch 22 when you
yeah,
choose to make bad decisions based off of what you feel, and then it's even worse when you try to make sense of it. Well, I did
Mhm.
this because I deserved it. I bought this because this is what I've been wanting. But you know for a fact that you could have put that money into something that was much more valuable, or a much more needed area of your life,
I agree. Now, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Shay, I mean, I've been knowing you for a number of years. And you would not go into a CVS and buy makeup. Why do you spend so much money on designer makeup?
So
What
let
different?
me correct you on that real quick. This right here, and you can't really see it 'cause I got the light in it. This came from CVS. This was $7.99.
I'm surprised.
However, no, however, this right here came from Mac. The difference is on my regular days when I just want to lay low. This is what I wear, and I will go to CVS. I used to be a nympho for Mac lip gloss, and I realized how much I was wasting in that. And I wanted to be more economical when I came and I started to buy these things. And I have changed a lot when it comes to makeup because I realized the more money I make, I really had to realize how much I was spending. And we all will say, oh God, all you gotta do is give me $20,000. And God gave me an extra 40 and I was still robbing Peter to pay Paul because I wasn't making the right decisions and I
Mhm,
was just
mhm.
out here, buying because I had it versus to making the right decisions because of all based off of what I need and really what I can afford comfortably.
Exactly. Okay. How do you feel now? I it's this is my thing. Material is nice when you can buy the finer things and you can drive the finer things, live in the finer things, and just do all that. That's fine. However, your lifestyle need to match it. It's kind of, and this is not to discredit people, but it's really there's so many people, and I've known people that's passed away that I knew in their lifestyle was known for wearing a Gucci Prada, but then when they pass away, they don't have life insurance. So now you got to have a hot dog stand and sell chips to bury them. To me, things need to match up. I feel like your lifestyle need to match how you dress. And I don't think material things is bad because we all love it, we all have it. I think, but like Shay said, when you idolize it, when it becomes to a point where it has taken over your life, or you can't do anything but wear this, or you robbing Peter to pay Paul to buy these things, or you going in excessive debt just to keep up with the Joneses, it becomes an issue.
There are people out here who own red bottom shoes, but literally lived from check to check or lives from pillar to post or lives from off of hopefully I get this money coming in. You have people who drive uh, um, cars
They
such
can't
as
afford the
Hellcats
gas.
that literally can't afford the car insurance. So if they get in a car accident, you up shit's creek. And it's nothing wrong with wanting nice things. I swear it's
Exactly.
not. I like nice things, but Kevin, what did he just tell me? He told me what 3 days ago. Go buy me some red bottoms. Oh, you need red bottoms. He's been on me about
I
buying
told
these
her, I said,
damn
go
red
get you, go
bottoms.
spoil yourself to some red bottoms. Go
But
get it.
I'm not because guess what? I don't have to because I know I can if I wanted to. I know that I have the money if I want, but
That's why I
that's not
said, go get it
anything.
because I know you have
That's
it.
It's nothing that I want. It's nothing that I desire because
Mhm.
that doesn't make me. I can walk next to a woman with red bottoms on and feel just as good with my Amazon shoes that I paid $29 for. Okay, I'm perfectly fine with that because and it's not. I'm just not a materialistic person. I'm just not, and I think that going down in our conversation later on, I'll address some of the reasons why I'm not materialistic. I don't want to jump ahead of the game.
Okay. How do you believe? How does materialism affect a person? How do you think it affect a person? I think it can affect a person in all facets. I think it can affect a person mentally. I think it can affect a person physically and financially. More importantly, financially, because
Mhm.
I remember even back in 2001 when I graduated from high school. I'm old, y'all. Um, and I remember if you didn't have now, mind you, where I went to school and the area I was in, it was not a very high influential area, right? It was just people. It was I wouldn't say impoverished, but it was not a. It was okay, impoverished area. But these people was having Jordans on every time the Jordans come out. And I'm like, how? And these people, most of them, everybody, parents were, be honest, was on welfare. Maybe some work, but how was these? But these people would skip school or didn't go to school. And I could even remember if I didn't have the latest and the greatest, we didn't want to go to school because guess what? You would get picked on. And it's like we're not even in that type of area. You know, you walk past some of your classmates' houses, the windows is out and all this stuff. But guess what? They got the new Jordans every month. They got the what was the coats that we was wearing? Sherlin coats at the time. This probably way before y'all
Triple
time.
fat goose.
Triple fat goose. They had on all of the latest and the greatest stuff. But when you walk past their house, it's like how does that match? And it was so much pressure. Like first day of school, I
Mm.
remember having anxiety attacks for first day of school because if you didn't have what you thought you should have, it was like, dang. And my grandmother wasn't that person. She wasn't. I remember my grandmother bought me a Nautica outfit from the Chinese shop. And then I'm like, Grandma, it got Fruit of the Loom on the tag, but it say Nautica on the thing.
Yeah.
But my sister, she made sure we had nice stuff, and she knew, she made sure we had nice stuff, and she had her guy friends and stuff to look out for us and stuff. But yeah, how do you think materialism affect a person though? How have this how have this society why have this society gotten so bad? Even with your son, Sharon, you have a son that's in college.
Mhm.
How has this gotten so bad versus the area he grew up in to the black, like even the proms are different. Who
So I'm
Maserati? It's crazy.
no. So my son is totally different. You have to remember, I raised him in a white environment.
Hmm.
So the materialism wasn't as bad as it is in the black community. So he's not a materialistic person. He wears regular shorts, white t-shirts, flip-flops and socks. He'll throw on some Vans here and there. He's not into Jordans. He'll wear a pair of Cardis. I mean, that's probably the most expensive thing he has on him. But other than that, I didn't have to go through the whole Jordan phase, the Gucci and the Fendi and the Prada and all. I didn't have to go through that. Thank God. I had other struggles, so it wasn't materialism with him.
Love it.
Yeah. But I will tell you this: it's five things that I looked up that it says five ways materialism is killing the black community, and I'll name a few, and then we'll go into it later.
Okay.
Erosion of the family structure was one. That was a really good one. Creating spoiled and entitled children. That was an excellent one. Creating children with delusional career ambition. That is really, really good. Economic misdirection, commodity over asset. And the final one, I believe, was evaluating the wrong road role for models for our children, youth. So it's definitely the one that I really, really like was the misdirection of the commodity over assets, where we're buying things that actually depreciates. They
Mhm.
Yeah.
don't hold any validity or value, you know. So these things depreciate like cars. You know, they depreciate literally after you get off the lot. They go down. So those were some of the few things I thought were really cool. Well, and we'll go deeper into them later on.
Michael said something that was very profound. He said materialism skews one's view in life, and I think the issue that I have with materialism is when your other things is not in place.
Yeah.
Mm,
That's the issue that I have. If you can if your bills is paid and you doing everything you're supposed to do, I don't
Different.
yeah.
care if your living room is plushed in Versace. That's cool. But when your credit and when your wages doesn't say that, and when you are dripped in $6,000 worth of clothing, and you stand with somebody, it doesn't make sense. You know,
I think it's wanting to. I think a part of it too is people wanting to be accepted by other people.
okay.
Um, and I think too, like it sort of makes a cross because you want to be accepted. Oh, you want people to say, "Oh, you look good." Oh, I'm gonna kill them today. But deep down inside, you hurting. You know what I'm saying? But also, I think too is that I think it goes back to like you said. You know, when you were growing up, I remember growing up, my parents would not buy us Jordans. Like my first pair of Jordans came from my brother. You know, but it made me grateful because just as well as you could kill him with Jordans, you could still kill him with a pair of Vans, a pair of Skechers, and still be okay. I think it's all about living in your means, and I think when people do that, you're showing people you're representative because it's only gonna last but for so long. Like I dare not have a pair of red bottoms. Then I'm going to the buy here, pay here, and I got to pay a car note for 150 every 2 weeks for a Mercedes Benz. Yeah, I'm paying to get a Mercedes Benz, but when that maintenance come up, now I'm complaining.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
So So when you talked about growing up as a kid, Kevin, it says creating children with delusional career ambitions. It says if you have spent any time in a school volunteering or mentoring and speaking with children, you will quickly find out the days of career ambitions, being a doctor, lawyer, business owner, are over. Everyone wants to be a famous entertainer, rapper, singer, or sports athlete. It's crazy because it's serious.
Yeah,
They no longer, you know, you can go into school. Remember when we used to have career day? You could bring your mom and your dad, and you could bring somebody, and you wanted to bring somebody who was a lawyer or doctor. You could say, you do this presentation, you say, I want to be a doctor. And it's like, this is why Jordans are so profound. Why Gucci is so profound, and Fendi and MCM bags, and they're because the rappers. This is what the delusion is. This is what you want to be to get these things, and that's where it's coming from. It's definitely coming from our entertainment, if
Hmm.
nowhere else.
and
If
to back,
nowhere else, it's definitely coming from there.
but to back up what Shan saying too, with kids, our kids are getting killed and robbed
Hmm.
over a pair of Jordans, or our kids are having the effects of this. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? They
Yeah.
don't care. They robbing you, and it could be the fake pair of Jordans.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
But
think
yeah, definitely.
yeah, but again, it's the mentality of it all. And granted, media has a lot to do with it. You know, the biggest consumers are us.
Hmm.
Out of every nationality, genre, black people are the biggest consumers. When
yeah,
you look at Christmas time, Black Friday, all of that, we are the biggest consumers. And then when you go deeper into statistics and they say, okay, you know, people that shop in certain areas and then they pull up median, it's crazy how a person that makes 30,000 a year house is draped in Gucci. I still trying to see how they do it, but I also think materialism ties into uh mental health as well. And Shan and I was talking, and I think one of the somebody told her and explained to her that materialism from a different perspective, and I was like, oh, I didn't look at it like that
He's
way.
gonna have to come on and say it himself, though.
And I think it was a guy in the comments, Becca Timbe. He was explaining to Shay that um, materialism isn't. It's because everything was taken from us as a people, and because things was taken from us, we have this sense of hold that we have to hold on or something. I don't want to quote him. I'm gonna let him come in. Becca Timbe, are you ready to come in? But I'll let him explain. But when he explained that, it made sense. It made a lot of sense to me. Um, and I looked at it from a different perspective. I'm just tired of seeing my people. I like to see people in nice stuff, but make sure that your everything line up with it though.
And they get offended, and then when you talk about things like this, it becomes the you're judging them. Who are you
Yeah.
to worry about their money? It's their money, they can spend it on whatever they want.
Hmm.
And that is the ignorance. Again, it goes back to our community where we can, it's okay for me to say, hey friend, I don't really think that that was a good purchase that you made. And it's not for you to get offended and tell me, oh well, you need to mind your own business, I'm not asking you. No, it's for me to say, hey, as a friend, I'm looking and I'm seeing that, you repeatedly do the same thing over and over every year, or every other year, or every 2, 3 years. And I haven't seen any changes. And you're making the same mistakes. And at some point, either you just let them do it and you don't say anything, or do you continue to, help them or try to help them?
I
Where do you go with that?
I like I I think people get offended because at that point I feel like you're pulling their card. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
even when you're in a relationship, like I've done got to a point like, people will send their representatives real quick. Like they done got a Gucci wallet, I drive a Lexus, I drive a Mercedes and all this other stuff like that. And it's like I don't care about none of that right now. Like, do you have a passport? You got a 401k? Like if we gonna grow together, let's make sure we got our stuff. Let's make sure we got our stuff.
Uh-huh.
I've dated somebody who was so materialistic. They all had all that materialistic. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's take a trip. No, I don't want to go to Miami. I want to go somewhere overseas. I don't got a passport. So all this money that you done spent on Gucci and Prada, all this, you ain't got a passport. That's a that's a problem. We spend most stuff
Well,
on.
so I totally disagree with that one. Now, I'm a little biased to the passport thing. Everyone, and listen, the only reason I say that because everyone isn't a traveler. A passport is not a necessity. So when you tie into materialism and you tie into necessities, because a person doesn't have a passport doesn't mean that they're less than, because they don't, because it's not a necessity. Now when you start talking about, do you have a car, do you have a 401k, do you have a savings plan, these are things that we need in order to live our lives throughout each day comfortably. You don't necessarily need a car, but I would hope that you have some means of transportation, whether that's money saved to do Ubers or whatever you need to do. So I wouldn't tie a passport into
Well,
you are making bad decisions.
on the lines, of if you are a traveler, you like, hey, I want to do all this other
Okay.
stuff. Like if you talk about planning trips overseas, you got to have a passport.
And not even that with traveling, hey, it's one thing to travel, but if you're trying to pay for, you're going broke to pay for a first class flight instead of just sitting coach or something. I mean, people have their isms. I like to call them their isms. People have their particular isms. But let me ask you guys this question: if a friend told you, hey, I think you don't need this. I think this is a impulsive purchase. How would you receive that? And be honest.
It depends on the person and the friend that was telling me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not easily offended. And I would ask, why would you say that? Like I literally am thinking about getting another car, literally. And I have contemplated this for the past month. And I'm pretty sure looking in, you would be like, what the hell are you talking about, Sharon? You definitely
Hmm.
don't need another freaking car.
You know, I would.
But
I'm gonna say that. Yep.
and I know that. So if you gave me legitimate reasons why you felt that that was a bad purchase, I would really listen to you. I really would. So I wouldn't be offended.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
What about you, Q?
It depends on who it comes from, but I think like my close friends most definitely gonna have a conversation because I feel like your friends will hold you accountable or hold you accountable in certain areas. So it depends on what it is. Like I may be like, hey, but the reason why, but I'm gonna hear your reason why you think I should have it as well. But I don't get offended. I don't think
I,
I'm offended by something like, well,
I do.
especially with friends.
I do have friends that I know for a fact I can't say anything to them in regards to purchases or bad decisions because they will automatically become defensive. Automatically.
Why is that
So
though? Why you think that? Why would they come so defensive?
because I think a lot of I think with certain people that I'm around, they automatically think they know everything and that they make the best decisions. So when you have a person that thinks that they make the best decisions all the time, they think that everyone's attacking them. It becomes almost impossible to talk to them about real shit. So you keep it surface level. I'm gonna talk to you. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? How's everything? Cool. It's not gonna be the deep conversations because everyone they'll look at me and say, "Well, you're only saying this because you make this type of money." So basically, one, you're trying to hold me back. Two, you're trying to hate. Three, you don't know what you're talking about. You go into all this unnecessary conversation. So I do have friends that I don't care if they made the worst decision as far as money go, I'm not gonna say absolutely anything. I will let them drown themselves before I go and say I don't think that's a good purchase because they're not gonna listen and it's gonna be turned around into something that neither one of us really want to deal with.
But I think you also two people. There's two different types of people who really do, people who really do care about what you do. Then you just have some people who just jealous of you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
Now,
the ones that's jealous of you, the ones that's going, they don't want you to do things because they don't want to get ahead, or they feel like you outshining them.
hmm
now, I guess in the comments said black people are major consumers in the American economy and spend more than 1 trillion a year on goods and services. How is that if we are impoverished? How is that a lot of impoverished people are a part of that $1 trillion?
but see, so I don't think we're in. I think that's the old mentality that we feel like we're living in poverty. I don't think that that is the case anymore. I truly believe that there's a lot of African American people that make really good money.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, whether we put it in the right, we do it correctly is a different story. But I definitely believe that you have the world and the times have changed where we get paid really good money.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I just don't think we're putting it in the right places at all.
I think we have become also what I think is handicapping us as well. We could go out here and make the bad choices and run up our credit card bills and not pay bank back overdraft fees, and then
Yeah.
what's the first thing we do as a race? We want to file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
That's to put ourselves right back in the exact same situation.
But let me say something though, because we didn't create bankruptcy.
We didn't.
White people created it. And guess what? Your ex-president Donald Trump filed bankruptcy like 3 to 4 times.
I think he's
Corporations,
at five now. I
it
think
may
he's
be
about five.
five. But so the thing is, I think also too, and because we're talking about materialism and also material, one of the causes of materialism is financial distress. And when you have financial distress leads to bankruptcy. But bankruptcy isn't bad. A lot of people have money. Bankruptcy stop you from paying all the money out, and it kind of help you save money. And I think even with us, it's just like when us as a people get hold to something, then they want to make it bad. They were doing bankruptcy, but the minute we found out, hey, we can do bankruptcy and we can have a fresh start and we can do this and do this, then all of a sudden the government start putting these parameters on. Okay, if you make a certain amount, you can't use this one, but you can
You know
use
why they
that
went
one.
up on the parameter, right?
Huh?
You do know why they went up on the
Because
parameter, right?
everybody was because once we start learning
Making money
that, yeah,
and making money.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna make it higher because now y'all making money. So I gotta make it where you can't. So you got the money, but you ain't got the credit. So you think you're gonna file bankruptcy and get the money and the credit? Absolutely not. You're
Right.
not
So
gonna
we
do it.
do
Uh-huh.
it. The
And
question is,
two,
the-
go
go ahead,
ahead.
Shay. Okay,
No,
so
no,
the
no, go
question, when we do file it, are we as, and I'm just speaking as a race,
Okay.
do we
ahead. Yes.
educate ourselves on better on how to better budget ourselves with the materialistic stuff? Do we
Yes or
budget?
no?
And I think it's just
I don't.
I
because I
think
feel
you're
like
saying no. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I feel like
Yeah.
speaking as a race as a whole, I feel like when you hear majority of people say, "Oh, I don't file bankruptcy, girl," or whatever, they go right back into the same mindset. It's just without the extra bills and all that stuff as well.
I get
Yes,
it.
I do think we mess up on that.
Hmm.
I had to file bankruptcy, but it wasn't because I was doing bad with my credit or anything like that. I got caught up in relocating with companies, and my lease that I was in wouldn't allow me to get out of it. So they wanted me to pay $16,000 to get out of my lease, or I had to file bankruptcy. So it wasn't that I had bad credit. I had a credit score of like 760. But in order for me to not be garnished and them take all my money, I had to unfortunately surrender everything I had as far as putting it in a bankruptcy where it was a chapter 13. I couldn't do a chapter 7 because I made too much. So everybody who files a bankruptcy isn't a person who just
Right.
misuses their credit. There are things and ramifications around why certain people have to file bankruptcy because sometimes, unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say that, though,
Oh no,
at
I,
all.
I did mine too. So, but I was just speaking on
Listen,
who
I
just
followed it
do
too.
us who just do it to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I do believe that certain. Um,
I follow wisdom before preferences. If I mention the issue to someone, then it's because I trust their sight. If I don't, I should be silent. Larry said, "Yep, lots of wealthy people file bankruptcy. That is so
Hmm.
true. Most definitely. I filed bankruptcy. I definitely got some stories. Um, listen, guys, make sure to share this live. I'm actually going to drop the link. And when I drop the link, I'm going to allow the viewers to jump in and share their stories and things like that. That way it can be a more interactive live. So once I drop the link, be sure to come in. Depending on how many people we have, we'll limit it to like 5 minutes, 5, 6 minutes. But yeah, I'm gonna drop the link. So if you guys want to jump in and just share your opinion on it, because I think this is a conversation that we could talk about all night. And my thing is, I think it's education, just basically educating people just on finances and things like that. But again, we bu- I, I get it. Once you if you grew up poor and you get to a point where you can afford to live where you want to live, drive what you want to drive, it's that feeling of I've made it. And I get it. It's like, dang, I remember I couldn't wear this stuff. Now I can buy this stuff easily. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I feel like you should be able to, if you can afford it, get it. My issue is when people are buying these things or
yeah,
getting these things, and but they're getting in debt, or their life just doesn't add up with it. That's the thing. It's like, okay, why is that? How do we educate them on better finances or better choices, or we should just leave it alone?
but I think that a lot of it too comes in. I know for some people it could be the way they were raised. No one taught them how to budget money. No one taught them how to save. No one taught
Hmm.
them to save money out of each check or even have a savings account. I think the most hurtful thing that I've seen is people who done worked all their lives and retired and still don't have nothing to show for it.
That is sad.
Mm.
Yeah.
You don't work all your life and you don't have no. You don't have. It's sad
Okay.
because I don't know if
It
it's.
was.
Go ahead, Shay.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. One of the things you were talking about the family, and one of the five ways that materialism is killing the community was erosion of the family structure. And it says it doesn't take a genius to figure out the more you are into materialism, the greater the need for the money. This means we're working longer and harder hours, even before ever than ever before, at the expense of family time. It doesn't matter if it's single or two household family. Everyone is working and spending less time with their children. To compensate for this, we're just buying them things and turning them into materialistic consumers of the future.
Wow.
So it's almost like it's really crazy how it's almost like the world turned it continuously. I remember being a single mom and working long hours. It wasn't because of materialism, but it was because I was single. I was a mom. I had to make sure all my ends were met, and I wanted to give my son an environment that I didn't have, which was a safe one, a clean one, a healthy one, great schooling, and that cost. So I spent less time with him. And to compensate for that, I did give him money. It was, I bought him a 75-inch television at what? He was 10. He had a king size bed when he was 10. I wanted to make sure he had all of the gaming and things like that and all of the latest cell phones, not because I wanted to mess him up mentally, but because I wanted to compensate for the time that I didn't spend with him because I was working to make sure I provided for him.
Uh-huh.
So it can make them materialistic consumers for the future, even if you're not directly trying to be materialistic. You can turn them into materialistic children or consumers for the future. So
Okay.
that was really good. Erosion of the family structure.
I think
Wow.
it's funny that you said that because I remember growing up and I first got my first job and was working at McDonald's, and then I think McDonald's wages was like $8.15 an hour. But paid, my parents made me pay towards the rent. And you crazy? Like first check was $200. My mom like I did, and I lady what? But she was like, "Hey, you can't. You may not buy that right now. You may want to save your money because I ain't buying this. Oh, you got McDonald's money? Oh, you got McDonald's. Oh, you use it." But it made me appreciative and it made me grateful because it taught me now as an adult that hey, I may want a pair of Jordans or I may want a pair of H&M drawers, but I may have to be like, well, no, I got to make sure this bill taken care of. I got to make sure this is together. Let me make sure this is. I'm noticing that I'm getting older. You know what I'm saying? And I think the one thing that, like I said, I'm afraid. I was reading up on something. They were saying by the time I retire, I'm 33 now, that what you make as far as retirement is going to be so much different by the time I'm in my 50s or my 60s than it is now. And it's like, how would you be able to live comfortably?
Mm.
I don't want to have every pair of Jordans or every pair of Nikes and I can't live comfortably. And I
Mm-hmm.
bail at Walmart after I retire. I'm not trying to do that.
All right, we got somebody, one of the viewers going to jump in. We can just welcome Becca Timbe to the show. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on with you?
What's up, y'all? So,
What's going on?
you know,
Hey, back to back.
hey,
And that's
what's up, Shabo? What's up, Q?
going on.
I had to give y'all a fresh ponytail. So, all right, but thank you for quoting me earlier about our status. So I think one thing that I've been coming across is just the idea that when you have a people who've been historically disenfranchised, everything taken away from them, their heritage, their land, history, then they tend to get to a place when freedom comes, and they don't necessarily have to lean on community the same way that they did to survive. Then status symbols like what you own, or or clothing, or these material goods become the things that replace self-esteem.
Okay.
And along with that, what you also notice is that we we got married and had families under the threat of death. You know, there was still the tradition of jumping the broom and all those things, and all those things took place in secret, even during captivity. Where you see the difference is that around, I would say, the 70s, there was less of an importance on education and more on industrialism. But most of those factories were right there in our communities. Then you start seeing the destructuring of those factories that are in the community, and then you start seeing the rise of social service programs like welfare, like food stamps, and all these other things. So then you start seeing where there are fewer families that are together, and you see a rise of single parenthood. All these factors come together to become even more detrimental to a community where
Mm.
the people who initially subjugated us to this enslavement, they don't even have to do anything anymore. We're doing it to ourselves. So if we no longer have strong family structures, if we no longer have a base where we have a common understanding, where there is a grandma's house that we can go to, that's still in the family, that someone owns, that's generating wealth for generations, then we're causing this deficit to occur every cycle of our generations. Our buying power is $1 trillion. Yes, people are making better money, but people aren't necessarily being taught within the family what finance is.
Hmm.
And I think we're still dealing with the effects of almost the ripple effects of a have and have not type of situation. Back in the 1800s, when in New Orleans you had the octoroon and quadroon balls, where those who were of mixed race were able to have their own social societies and all those different things and whatever, under the guise of, we can be free here while those others, are enslaved. So we're still having those divides. We're still having the issue of colorism. We're still having some imbalance in how it is that our expertise is being paid, while someone else at the same level with the same level of education is possibly making more income, though overall we're generating more money.
Mm. So so how with social media and everything going on, how do you change the perspective of our younger generation when you saying one thing and then you got Two Chains and Ti saying another thing? You know what I mean? How do you change the perspective? Because I really believe our people don't. We don't live for the future. We live for the now.
Right. But
What's
the
hot
reason,
right
but one of
now?
the reasons that we live for the now is that the things that typically go on that have longevity
Uh huh.
are typically things that we've been disenfranchised, or we've been taught to believe are unattainable. So I think what has to happen is that financial literacy has to really occur at the elementary level. Once kids learn how to do 1 plus 1 is 2, then they should also learn how to calculate what an interest rate is. And if you never get that until you get to college, then you're already behind.
All right. So
But I
Tony's.
think too, at Rekatembe too, really quick, we also have to get our people that is entertaining our children and entertaining the environment to change their delivery as well.
Of course.
Because you can teach literacy all day and all night, but if I'm saying, wads of money and I put on for my city, throughout every
Right.
freaking television show there is. You can educate until you're orange in the face. This is what they see on the billboards when they walk by. This is what they see when you go to the movies and they do all of the previews. This is what they see on the MTV shows or BET shows, whatever. I don't even know if MTV is still out. But you have to get the entertainers to say, hey, this is for entertainment. Reality is, it's good to go to school. It's good. The LeBron Jameses and the Dwayne Wades saying, hey, maybe I didn't go to college, but this is why it's important to go to college because I'm
Right.
35. Yeah, I'm retired. But how many basketball players do we know that's retired and broke?
Right.
How
But
many?
they're also
So,
investing in
we
education
have
too.
to. So
LeBron
investing in
James,
education,
um,
but
and so many other
also telling
basketball
them that this
players.
is
Yeah.
entertainment. This is pure entertainment. And
Right.
one out of every billion people become a basketball player or a
But
football player.
I agree with what you
So
said as well. I also think that the younger generation is as well as the older generation, um, they see it on TV, so they think that it comes just like this. But
yep.
they're not looking at that, there's bills with this. They're not looking at, they only see, oh, I put on for my city, but then
Mm-hmm. Yep.
behind the scenes of where you need to. So many people are looking at that, but some of these artists don't even know how to calculate their own money. So they don't know the person that's behind them that they call a manager. They could be robbing them blind, and you
Exactly.
wouldn't know because you don't have no type of literacy. So that's why a lot of them going to jail because they owe the IRS, and you putting so
Because
much
yeah,
trust
And on
in people
RICO charges for all for stuff that's in their lyrics.
because you have people that you think that know everything and they don't.
yeah, for sure. And I think media is the biggest culprit of it all. If Ti did a music video, he have a fake chain on. That's a fake chain. But because we think Ti ain't gonna wear a fake chain, but here it is, we'll go broke and get put out our house just to buy a replica of this chain, and his chain is fake just for the video. And here it is, we going to buy the real thing, $100,000 chain, and you making $30,000, but you going broke and killing yourself for this thing. Media is a big culprit, of it all.
I went to the mall about a month ago. I think I told you, and I wanted to get me a Jesus piece. So I was like, you know what? Let me see how much this chain really is. I go over to the kiosk, and the man, it was MJ Diamonds, and he said that the chain I wanted was uh 13 or 1400 bucks, and I was like, really? And he said, yeah. And I'm thinking it's like diamond out, and he said, no, it's CZs, and I said, this is cubic zirconia, and I said, so when did cubic zirconia cost $1,200, $1,300? He says the wrappers, those are real chains. Those are replicas of real chains. Most of the time, those chains are not real.
Exactly.
But I was like, really? He said it has become so good that these chains that's fully diamond, they
Hmm.
actually look real, but they're so fake. And again, like KJ said, we go out here and we go and buy these chains because the real one he showed me that was literally identical to that, it was $12,000 for the
Sheesh.
exact same chain.
So did you put that? Did you get that? Did you still put that on a credit card? You didn't get that
I
Jesus
did
piece?
not. I said it's okay. I'll find something else to buy.
Like groceries.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I think, and I always tell people, um, media is bad. It'll have people thinking that they live in one way and actually not. You know what I mean? It's like when you personally know a person, but then they may go somewhere and they say living their best life, and you like, well, when you come back, you already know they lights gonna be off, or they ain't got no car, they ain't got no job. But media is, I'm telling you, media is very deceiving, and people need to stop looking at what people have and quit focusing on that, and quit focusing on, I think once you get a certain age, it may be cute when you're in your 20s, but when you become a productive and a adult, put money up, put in your 401k, because guess what, if you get into a bind and you don't have no money, you can take your own money.
Hello.
Start investing. I mean, get life insurance. I'm so tired of people selling hot dogs
Wait.
and fish and
Hey,
stuff with
hey,
somebody. That I'm tired of that.
hey.
I'm tired of
But you
that.
can't.
Like,
But some people won't even allow you to get insurance on them. So because they're so worried about you getting money after they're gone, it's a lot of people that won't allow you to do that.
That's
So they don't
one
have a
thing.
choice.
But I also
I'm
think we probably blame media but for so much, but at some point we got to take accountable. the economy.
Exactly. Yeah,
Actually, like
yeah.
I've known someone who had like 3 cars and was like, "Oh, I'm a boss." You're not a boss. You have 3 car notes. So that's not
Right.
boss. Three
Three
car
debts.
notes. Three.
But I don't, I'm not saying that media is at fault. And I believe one of our viewers had asked, is it the responsibility of the parent or the entertainer? I feel like it's a catch
Both.
22. Reality is this: I have a kid, and I don't know how many of you on the panel have children. You can preach until you're 1,000. The most your children is really, they're going to only listen to you for a certain extent, and then after that it's pure what's out in the world. I was brought up in church. I was raised in church. I mean, like from the time I was a baby in my mom's womb until I became an adult. And the biggest impression on me was the people outside of my home. I love my mom and she raised me right. But when you get a certain age and you get out there, and it's totally different now. The entertainment and our entertainers are totally different than what we had. So yes, it's the responsibility of the parent, but I feel that these children look up to these performers, and at some point we gotta do it together. We gotta educate them together.
Yeah,
That's just my personal
and I
opinion.
too about. I think it's what motivates us. It's
Right.
funny because one thing I think too is funny when I go to the auto show. And what's the first thing when we go to the auto show? We see that nice Audi, we see that nice Lexus. First thing you hear everybody say, "Man, I'm gonna get my credit together because you in a couple months, I'm about to get this." You know what I'm saying? But I think as an adult, we have to take accountability at this point for our own actions. It's 30s, 40s, especially when you come to dating and you want to talk to marriage. Like, I need to be with somebody who understands. Like, hey, we may not have to be perfect in with financial literacy, but we're gonna grow together how to get there.
Right.
I can't. I can't marry broke.
I understand. I think
We're gonna have
you
to do
know.
it. We're gonna have to
Yeah,
figure it
yeah. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother topic. Marriage. Is also a business too. When I say business, it means just aligning and making sure you getting something out of it. But that's a whole nother subject. Becca Timbe, what words can you leave us with? Because we about to wrap it up. We
Understood.
appreciate it, but you did give us a different perspective because
Yeah.
um, I would have never looked at it from the perspective of you know um, historically being a people that has always been things taken from us and that we gravitate to things that we can hold, and because everything has been taken for us, we look at that as a what's that word? We look at it like it's we arrived pretty much, you know. And I didn't look at it. So that you provided a different perspective because I looked at it from a different perspective. And when Shay and I had that conversation, and she said, "Well, Becca Tembe mentioned it in this way," and I said, oh, okay, I didn't think about that perspective, but I want to say thank you for providing that perspective because that's what it's about. It's about not looking at a thing in black or white, but also looking at it from a different um, perspective. And you gave that perspective that I didn't think about, but it's on my mind now. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you for that. You have anything else? Last words?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that some of these issues that we raise are all symptoms of a bigger problem that when the moment that there's generational wealth within a particular family, that's when that family disappears from the community, and they just become this microcosm of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the only people who are allowed within that bubble. But at some point, we can't keep ourselves away from each other to try to grasp at everything that we can. At some point, we have to look each other in the face proudly and say, we are here, we're together, we are meant to empower each other
Yes.
and do the empowering.
Amen. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you for coming to support us, and thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Thank you.
Um, so panel, as you know, we wrapping it up. You know, this brings us to the end of the show. This we might should do a part two to this because I mean, you can there are so many different layers to this, and you know we can really dive, and we talked about it briefly, but we can really dive into the mental illness that ties with that. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people feel like they have to have this only because they didn't have this growing up, and if they don't have material, maybe that can be a PTSD of them being poor. You know what I mean? Maybe they, some people only eat at certain type of restaurants because if they eat at something less than that, then maybe they can have PTSD if they had to eat pork and beans and hot dog. You know what I mean? So we can really dive deep in this thing, but what do you want to leave the people with, Shay?
Really quick, I'll read the last little portion that I thought really was good, and it kind of goes with what we just recently spoke with about the youth. It says elevating the wrong role models for our youth. Role models are very important to every young child and adult. They used to be found in the home, but those days seem to be over for most families. Today, our role models are discovered on television,
Oh, I think we had some connectivity
this
issues.
desire can be fixed on our minds. It doesn't matter how people get their wealth access to material goods, it just matters that they have them. Many of these people are found in the hip hop community and are not teaching our young people the right morals, values, and community minded mentality we need for our future. So it's so important that, yeah, it takes a village to raise a child, but our society is growing up off of social media, and we have to be real about that. And until our community, until our entertainers start educating along with the parents in the home, we will continue to have this materialistic mentality that will almost demolish our community as a whole. So continue to educate and push for it. That's it.
Amen. Q, what you have?
I want to leave off with a
I think we lost him.
I was trying to get a quote, but it wouldn't come up.
Oh,
But let me see. It will probably be make better choices, be accountable, and live life to its fullest.
okay. I respect that. I'm gonna show this real quick. I'm gonna say this. It says, uh, let me just move this real quick. This banner. Okay. Materialism: buying things we don't need with money we don't have to impress the people that don't matter. Um, so just don't buy stuff to impress people, y'all. Buy things that you like and you love and that you can afford. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Just be the Joneses. And I think a lot of people get so caught up in that. You can be the baddest motherfucker if you walked in with a Target outfit, the same as if you walked in with a Balenciaga outfit. It's not about the clothes, it's about you as a person. Because I didn't see people dripped in $5,000, $6,000 and still look like shit. So, and I done
Mhm.
seen some people that's probably spent probably about $100, and they turn their heads like, damn. So it's not the clothes; it's about the person. So change your mentality. If you change your mentality, I think people would do better. And of course, this brings us to the end of the show. And I just want to say thank you guys. I appreciate everybody that actually tune in every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. We greatly appreciate you guys. We can't do this
Yep.
without you guys, and we
Thank
appreciate
you.
the different dialogue and all of that stuff. More importantly, I appreciate my panel, Shay. Thank you. You has started with me since day one, and I greatly appreciate that. Um,
No problem.
and you just been there. And Q, I appreciate you for jumping on the
Always.
last two show, man. Hey, listen, you might be a permanent panel guest, bro. We might have to have you. I just appreciate everybody. And don't forget to share this live on Facebook. Please share this live. Tell your friends, tell everybody about the show. We talk about things that you people don't normally talk about. And I always wanted to create an atmosphere where, no topic is left off the table. And so that's what we have. So we could talk about anything. If you guys have any topic suggestions, DM me on Instagram at Bearded Man Chronicles, or reach out to me on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I want you guys to take care, and we out. Peace out.
Hey.